Hello, this is Jay.
And Jack.
Here to talk about Jay and Jack Plus, our new podcasting venture where we do podcasts about Fringe,
Games of Thrones,
Firefly,
The Married Man Show,
Jay and Jack TV.
and more.
And it's only for 1 penny for the first month, and that is awesome. So you can check that out, jayandjacktv.com. Click on the Plus feed, become a member for only 1 penny. You can't beat
You can
that.
try it for a penny, 1 month for a penny.
So check it out. Hasta luego, and goodbye.
Bye.
And to me, from my perspective, adds such a subtlety to the characters and the characterization, and the mythology and the concepts. I mean, all this kind of stuff that really adds a lot of depth to the actual story being presented. So,
all right.
I went to the panel 2 years ago where Damon and Lindelof was at with Matthew Fox, and I believe they did say that they did have it planned up in the beginning.
Yeah, but there's a whole part with the when he tells Jack, he tells him when he's in Locke's form, he says, "Yeah, I was Christian Shepherd the whole time." Well, how could that be possible when he's on the boat telling Michael, "You can go now"?
but he could lie.
Well, I know he lied, but I'm just saying. But a lot of people believe that he was Man in Black the whole time. I mean, he was Christian Shepherd the whole time. Well, how is that possible? He couldn't have been.
You could kill yourself.
But Jacob,
You're going down a wormhole.
But Jacob never took the form of anyone else, right? So it wasn't Jacob telling him you could. Was it just his?
Jacob never told you he took the form of anyone else.
Yeah.
Unless you got a phone call I don't know about.
All right, I'm gonna go watch Fringe. I get it.
Right back here and then right here. Okay. Yeah. What's your name, bud?
Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Speaking of Fringe, is there any other show you'd recommend that has the potential that Lost had or has?
Oh, wait, I forgot to give out the next gift. We got Sawyer in Dharma Fatigues. LaFleur.
Is your question for shows that are currently on the air, past on the air, or about to come on the air?
On right now and coming soon.
Coming soon.
Something you recommend?
Oh, like current recommendations or? Okay.
Like a show like Lost, or just any show?
No, like Lost.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there's any show like Lost. I have difficulty with that qualification, but I think that we are in a golden age of television right now. I mean, there are so many good shows and shows on DVD that I'm still trying to catch up on, and I think watching Lost gave me a better appreciation of it. It's like before I wouldn't know the difference between wines, but now I think having watched Lost, I have a more refined understanding of what I want to see in television. Like if I was interested in the sci-fi stuff, I'm really enjoying Fringe. If I'm interested in characters and a really complex world, I like The Wire. I mean, so it depends on what it was of Lost that you saw was attractive.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to jump on that and say that, yeah, there is a lot of television. I think that we are in the golden age, and the longer a television show can live, the more complex it becomes, and the more rewarding it becomes for viewers who are sticking with it. So, I mean, there's tons of shows that you can pick out. I myself just jumped on Doctor Who with a new Doctor, Matt Smith, and it's quite rewarding. Stephen Moffat is a great writer. I'm also thinking about going back and checking out some of his previous works as well. But that's just one example. You could throw a stone and hit a show, or an audience member.
Alcatraz looked pretty good. I don't know how many people saw it.
Yeah, I mean, let's look over some of the new stuff that's out that show this weekend. Alcatraz, Person of Interest, had 2 Lost actors on it. They were both good. They're definitely not Lost, but they have their own mysterious angle that they work with. At least Alcatraz and Person of Interest is more of a episodic type show, but then actually saw the end of the River panel where they had a little teaser trailer there, and River looks pretty cool too.
You'll recognize a lot of those jungle scenes for sure.
Oh, is it shot in Hawaii? Oh, really? Oh, cool.
You stalking them yet?
Same stage.
I'm trying to stay out of trouble there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But that looked really cool. That looked really interesting. And saw Thundercats too, and Thundercats was awesome.
Do you have the sword? The giveaway?
Oh yeah, I got the giveaway.
It's a slightly windier path from Lost to Thundercats, but
it works, okay? Because Lino, he's like Jack Shepherd, and
look, another show that I jumped on that's already off the air was Avatar: The Last Airbender. I thought that was very rewarding as well.
Yeah.
And because because the similarity for me was it built on an existing mythology or a new mythology, and kind of it had that same complexity to it, but it was also really good characters and really great story.
Or if you haven't seen BSG, go back and watch that.
For sure.
I watched it late, I joined a community too late. I mean, I watched it in 2 months, and I wish I was part of the community because that was a great show.
And as far as current shows, my new favorite show though is Game of Thrones. I love that show. It's so good.
I would go with Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Anarchy.
Breaking Bad for sure.
Is an excellent show. Breaking Bad right now, I would say, Games of Thrones. It's only had one season.
Right.
Breaking Bad right now is the best show on television.
And I'm actually going. We just finished season 2. I think we're in season 3, and it has been very incredible. I think it's, as far as character-driven show, that is top notch right now. Definitely.
And Sons of Anarchy, you're not a fan?
I haven't watched it yet, but I know Jack's a big fan.
And Jen's a huge fan of it, and she had to force me to watch it because I'm like, biker gang does not sound interesting to me at all.
It's like Dexter. If anyone's watched Dexter, you're rooting for someone you probably normally wouldn't root for. In Sons of Anarchy, you're going, they're a motorcycle gang and they do bad things, and you're going, oh, don't do that. You're rooting for them, but it's just a good show.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, Gabriel, let's see what you get in the goodie bags. Oh, Saeed.
He's
Jawad.
buff.
Yeah.
Saeed Jahan.
He's a little pink, but he's buff.
Right back. That's an awesome Chuck shirt. Did you get that preview night?
No, I got it today.
Oh, today? Awesome. And I believe your question is next, if I'm not mistaken. That was your name?
Oh, I'm Sarah.
Sarah, nice to meet you, Sarah.
You guys are all like really passionate fans, and I was wondering if any point during your show were you guys like, okay, I'm done, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm done.
Ryan?
Yeah. What can I say?
He lost the way.
Yeah. Partway through season 2, we said, it was that we weren't sure where the show was going, and as you know,
Was it the Biling episode?
No.
That was season 3.
The last podcast we did before we took over a year off was Fire and Water. Was the Charlie episode where he was in the diapers and dancing, and I was having
everybody.
Yeah. So it's fascinating.
That reminded you too much of college?
Right. That whole diaper incident, for sure. I think the weird thing is, even when they said the doldrums was when they were in cages, for example, or when you had the Jack tattoo episode. That isn't a great episode, but I can still watch it again. And some of the most hated episodes, like Expose, are my favorite episodes. So it's interesting what people will kind of seize on and be affectionate toward and lose interest in. But we did leave the show, and the funny thing was it was the listener community and the fan community that kind of brought us back, because even after we stopped podcasting, because as you know, it's a lot of work to do a podcast, we were still blogging about it every week.
Yeah.
And we would still get 300, 400 comments every post, and it was that level of engagement. Said, okay, well, I guess we should start recording again.
And I always like Ryan. Like everyone's like, hey Ryan, you should do a segment. Come on, record something. Turn on the mic. Let's go. Come on, let's do something.
Yeah, and well, one of the big inspirations was the musical interlude you made for.
Oh yeah,
for
yeah.
Spoiler reports.
Yeah.
It's
So
good to be
yeah,
back.
but we did get Ryan back, which was awesome.
Well, how about you though? I mean, it's a lot of work.
It is.
I know when you guys called it quits for a while, we got bombarded, and the workload just became, we just had
Like 10,000.
10,000, then all of a sudden it's just like boom, and then we were getting like 200, 300, 400 emails a week, and our goal was to answer every email. I was doing the emails, Jay was doing the phone calls, and finally I told Jay, I said, you got to help me out. I'm up till 4 o'clock in the morning answering email. I was walking around with my laptop answering emails all day, and I would do the day after the show, from the show after it aired.
Actually, we only did that the last season.
Yeah, well, but that's when we were getting most of them.
Yeah.
Sunday, and then he would do Monday through the show. We were getting 400 to 500 a day or a week, and it was just crazy. But I almost, when after the third season, the best finale ever, when he said we have to go back,
right.
I said, "Oh, that's great." I go, "Wait a minute, I don't think I'm going to like this." And I told him, I said, "If I don't like it, I'm done." I said, "If I don't like the direction they're going," but then when they came back, I go, "I really like the direction they're going." So I stayed with it, but I was wavering. I didn't know if I was going to like the way they.
Yeah, I mean, it was that one was tough, and it just there was a lot of times where it was just so much work. Like I'd spend hours just going through phone calls. We would get like 400, 500 phone calls and listening to all of them and picking out the best ones. And
Why don't you play my call?
So I mean, but even then, even at all those, and there's just some points where just like the worst day in the world, in the real world. But it was really just. It was the listeners that kept bringing us back every single time, because it's just we couldn't resist communicating and talking about it with people. But there's never been a point where I said, Lost sucks, I don't even like this is lame, I don't want to do this anymore.
Agreed. And
So let's
Chris,
see what we got here. Sawyer.
Chris, did you ever lose? Did you ever?
No, I was trying to think about that. I mean, I think that I think the most frustrating thing from
Of course, you were getting that big ABC check, so it made it easier.
right, it's a huge ABC check. No, I mean, from my perspective, I think the toughest thing for us at the network was season 3. You know, just knowing that, you know, the writers had all these great scripts in line and seeing where it was going, but being like, oh, wait, what do you mean they're off the air? Okay, does that mean we shouldn't do a podcast right now?
that was probably weird because they had the huge chunks of time. But yeah.
So, and then of course, as we got later in the season and stuff, it got more difficult for Damon and Carlton to carve out time. But one of the things they always made sure to do was to at least do it, you know, every 2 episodes or every 3 episodes, you know, because it was important to them. And we would get them when I would go to their office and I would set up, and they would be super freaking busy. They'd be in the middle of post production. They'd be running around like, you know, chickens with their heads cut off, and they would be exhausted, purely exhausted. But they would come in and they would sit down, and as soon as they started rolling on the podcast, it refreshed them. Like, you know, they've said to me once or twice, they were like, you know, we really loved doing the podcast. We really loved being able to connect to the fans, and that carried them through as well. So kudos to you guys.
I think this gentleman right here, yeah. What's your name, bud?
Derek.
Derek.
There's so many emotional moments throughout all 6 seasons. I just wondered if you guys could maybe pick the one that had the most meaning to you.
yeah,
Charlie was tough.
Charlie. We just rewatched it a month ago, and I was like, I'm still tearing up.
Yeah, I mean, the one that hit me the hardest after the fact was after the finale, the last episode. My wife and I were actually, because we had our big LA party, and we were in LAX airport, and we were just sitting down, and I think we got like a quesadilla or something. And then I think Colleen,
at the airport.
Yeah, at the airport.
That will do it.
Yeah, right. And then she just said, and then when Vincent came up, and I was oh, that's right. And I started tears coming down my face, and I was just like, it hit me so hard. I didn't even realize that it hit me that hard until after the fact.
I remember watching that scene when he was walking up, and we're with all these people, and I'm like going, I'm not going to cry. I mean, I'm like tearing up, and it.
So that scene was just so poignant and beautiful and poetic, and it was just it still gives me little goosebumps. That scene.
Well, I think I've told the story before, but before the finale was done airing, they would allow select people to come over to the offices and read the script for the finale, and we had to we couldn't take it with us. We had to come in and check in and write our name down and take a script, and then we would go into a room and they would we put a box of tissues in there for you. And I'd heard stories like some of my coworkers had already come in and they were like, "Yeah, I used the tissues." Right? And I was like, "I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry." Yeah, no, it was done.
What made you?
This is just reading the script.
Right. Yeah. What made you cry the hardest?
I'm not sharing that.
I think Vincent is, dogs will always do it for a lot of folks. That scene tied with Vincent being turned back from the raft in Exodus, I think, kind of makes him the winner there.
But I think that all ties together with the whole, Jack meeting his father. Like that whole momentum carrying through to that last moment is all kind of one emotional beat for me.
Hurley with Libby too. That was a sad one.
And it adds so much poignance to that. What's that?
Yeah. Juliet and Sawyer.
That's right.
Like when they remember that. Yeah.
That was pretty heavy. It was heavy, Doc. I forgot. Oh, it adds a lot of poignance to that Mobisode with Vincent and Christian Shepherd.
Yeah.
You guys remember that Mobisode? It was like the only cool Mobisode they had, a really good one.
Right.
But yeah,
go wake up my son. He's got work to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's really cool. Let's see. Come on down. You get Saeed Jarrah.
Saeed Jarrah, torturer.
And I'm a torturer. Comes with his own bamboo shanks. There we go. Back of the room. Where? Way back. Right here.
You.
Yep. Okay.
You.
Yep.
Yes,
you still has. Yeah. Right here. What's your name?
Brock.
Brock. Okay.
Do you think that the writers and the directors wanted more